The rain fell hard on the leaves of the forest, making sharp tapping sounds. The sky was dark, the clouds thick and heavy. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Varea walked through the mud, her legs weak, her long silver hair sticking to her face. Her feet were bare, her arms scratched by the sharp branches. She didn't care anymore. She just wanted to keep walking anywhere but back to her people. They had cast her out. Her chest felt tight remembering it. One simple word, infertile, had changed her entire life. She had gone from being a respected young woman of the Halari, a proud alien race, to nothing, useless, a waste. That's what the elders had said. Her parents had looked away in shame. Even her closest friends had stepped back. She had been left at the edge of the forest with only a thin cloak and a warning. Never return. Now she had gone days without proper food. Her body trembled with every step. The forest was deep and full of dangers, but she had no choice. She didn't want to die, but if she did, at least it would not be at their hands. Then, through the rain, she saw something strange. A structure. It was built with straight lines, metal supports, and humming machines. Lights blinked on the walls. It didn't belong to her people. It was human. Varea had heard of humans, though few Halari had met them. The elders said they were primitive, emotional, and unpredictable. But they were also said to be clever and bold. Most importantly, they didn't live by the same cold rules of worth and purity. She stepped closer, her vision blurring. Her knees gave way. She dropped to the wet ground. Trying to crawl forward, a door opened. A man stood there. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a simple dark uniform. His short brown hair was wet from the rain, but his sharp eyes caught hers instantly. He didn't speak. Not at first. He rushed forward and caught her before she collapsed fully. She was too weak to fight or even speak. She heard a warm voice near her ear. "Hey, it's okay, I've got you." Cole didn't expect visitors especially. Not alien ones. He was the only engineer assigned to the remote power relay station. It was a quiet job. He liked the silence. But now, there was a woman clearly not human in his arms. She was freezing, soaked, and barely conscious. Her skin was a pale violet blue, smooth like porcelain. Her ears were small and pointed. She didn't look dangerous, just tired and lost. He carried her inside, laying her carefully on the bed in the spare room. He placed a warm blanket over her and turned on the room heater. Then he checked her pulse, weak but steady. She had no weapons, just a damaged piece of metal hanging around her neck like a pendant. "Who are you?" he asked softly, though he didn't expect an answer. She didn't open her eyes, but she mumbled something in a language he didn't understand. Then she slipped into sleep. Cole sighed. This was going to be complicated. But something about her didn't feel like trouble. She looked broken. Hours passed. Varea opened her eyes slowly. The room was quiet, warm. She was covered in soft blankets. Her cloak had been removed, and she was dressed in a clean, oversized shirt. The light was dim, not harsh. She didn't feel afraid, just confused. Then the human returned. He had a tray in his hands. Food, a bowl of warm soup and some bread. He placed it gently beside her. "You're awake," he said, smiling carefully. "That's good. You were almost frozen out there." She stared at him, unsure what to say. He noticed her hesitation. "I'm Cole," he added, tapping his chest. "Cole," she blinked, then slowly pointed at herself. "Varea," she whispered, her voice dry. Cole nodded. "Nice to meet you, Varea." She looked down, her eyes trembling. "You helped me." Cole shrugged. "Didn't seem right. To leave you outside, you'd have died. No one ever helps outcasts." Cole raised an eyebrow. "Outcast?" Varea nodded. "My people threw me away because I cannot bear children. I'm useless to them." Cole frowned. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. That's ridiculous. She looked at him, surprised by his response. He continued, "You're alive. You're thinking, talking. That's not useless." A tear slipped down Varea's cheek. She wiped it quickly, embarrassed. But Cole didn't mock her. He didn't turn away. "Rest now," he said gently. "We'll talk more when you feel stronger." He walked out quietly, leaving her with her food and thoughts. Varela stared at the door for a long time. Then, for the first time in many days, she took a deep breath and felt something strange, something small, but real. Hope.vi woke up slowly the next morning. Warm air filled the small room, and soft light came through a nearby window. Her body felt sore but not cold anymore. For a long time, she just lay still, watching the light flicker on the metal ceiling above her. She wasn't dead. That thought kept repeating in her mind. She touched the blanket. It was real, clean, not something she had stolen or built out of leaves. Her body was wrapped in warmth, and her feet rested on soft bedding. It had been so long since she had felt anything like comfort. She sat up with effort. Her head felt heavy, but her strength was slowly returning. Her eyes scanned the room. It was simple but neat. A storage locker stood in the corner. A folded towel was placed on a small chair. A shirt, far too big for her, hung beside it. Everything smelled like clean air and metal. Then the door slid open with a quiet sound. Cole entered with a calm expression and 2 steaming cups in his hands. His eyes lit up slightly when he saw her awake and sitting. "You're looking better," he said, walking over and handing her one of the cups. "Here, it's warm tea, no chemicals, just something from Earth." Varela took it slowly, her hands still weak. She sniffed the drink. It smelled strange but sweet. She sipped carefully and then looked at him with quiet surprise. "It's good," Cole smiled. "Glad you like it." He sat on the edge of the chair beside her. He didn't rush her with questions. Instead, he let the silence speak first. Outside, wind passed gently over the station's walls, and the sound of a distant bird echoed through the forest trees. Varela looked at the floor for a while, then finally asked, "Why did you help me?" Cole tilted his head. "Why wouldn't?" She gave him a tired look. "Because I'm not one of you. I'm not even welcome among my own kind. They call me broken." He frowned. "Well, I don't care what they call you. You were in danger. You were cold and alone. That was enough." "Reason." Varela looked down again. She wasn't used to this. Kindness, honesty, no fear or shame in his voice, just truth. "Most humans would report me," she whispered. "I'm not most humans," Cole said simply. "I've been stationed here for 6 months. Haven't seen another soul in weeks. So believe me, I know what lonely feels like." She looked up at him, her eyes softening. "You live here alone?" He nodded. "Yep, I take care of this station. It's just a backup relay system, but still important. I make sure everything runs right. The rest of the world kind of forgets this place exists." Varela nodded slowly. "I know the feeling." They shared a short silence again. Then Cole stood. "You should eat something. I've got some more soup heating up. After that, you can take a shower. I'll find you some better clothes. That shirt's not exactly your size." For the first time, Varela let out a soft laugh. Just a tiny one, but it surprised her. It surprised Cole, too. "I'll take it as a good sign," he said, smiling. Later that day, Varela stood in the small bathroom, wrapped in a towel. Warm water had washed away the dirt, dried blood, and pain from her skin. Her hair was clean again, falling neatly around her shoulders. She stared at herself in the mirror. She looked like a stranger, but not a weak one. Not anymore. She stepped out into the hallway, wearing a new set of clean clothes, still a bit loose, but far better than what she'd been wearing before. Cole was sitting at the table, typing on a screen. He looked up and gave her a thumbs up. "Looking stronger already." She walked over and sat down across from him. "Thank you." Cole shrugged again. "Like I said, no need to thank me. But I do have a few questions now, if that's okay." She nodded. "Okay. Why were you in the forest? Alone?" "It's dangerous out there." Varela took a breath. "My people, the Hilari, found out I couldn't have children? In our society, that's considered a failure. A shame. They removed me from my family records and dropped me near the wild zone." Cole blinked. "Wait, they just abandoned you?" "Because of that?" She nodded, her voice soft. "Yes, they believe only those who can give new life have value. I was not useful anymore." Cole leaned back in his chair, clearly shocked. "That's awful. To them, it's tradition. But to me, it felt like death." He looked at her, quiet for a long time. Well, they're wrong. You have value. You're more than a function. Varea felt tears push at her eyes again, but she blinked them away. His words were simple, but they reached a place inside her that had been dark for so long. I'll stay out of your way, she said gently. I don't want to cause trouble. You're not, Cole said firmly. You're safe here, Varea. As long as you need to be? For the first time, she believed it. Days passed quietly at the relay station. Varea's strength grew with each sunrise. She helped Cole around the station, learning quickly how to operate some of the equipment. Her sharp mind and steady hands impressed Cole more than once. Still, the fear lingered. Outside the metal walls, the dark forest held secrets. The rain often returned, and so did the silence that made Varea's thoughts heavy one evening. Just as the sun dipped below the horizon, the station's sensors beeped sharply. Cole's eyes scanned the screen. Movement at the edge of the forest. Varea's heart jumped. She stepped closer to the display. It's them, she whispered. The patrol from my people. They are looking for me. Cole frowned deeply. Why would they hunt you? You're safe here. Varea looked down, biting her lip. They believe the outcasts must be removed. I am a threat simply because I live. They want to stop me from returning to the city, or spreading the truth that they cast me out. Cole's jaw tightened. That's cruel and dangerous. You need to hide. I cannot leave the station, Varea said. It is the only safe place near. Cole paced the room. Then we'll protect it. He began to prepare, working on locking down doors and running diagnostics on the station's security systems. Varea helped, her fingers moving over the controls with quick precision. This station isn't just a power relay, Cole explained. It has emergency defenses cameras, remote locks, even small electric shocks if needed. Varea nodded, hope rising in her chest. Later, hidden behind the thick metal walls, Varea watched the forest from a small window outside. Shadows moved among the trees. A small group of alien soldiers, tall, armed, and cold, crept through the underbrush. Their dark armor was marked with the emblem of the Halari Council. Varea's breath caught. She recognized one of the leaders from childhood memories. The same stern face that had once spoken words of rejection to her. Now, his eyes burned with fury. Cole stood beside her quietly. They won't stop until they find you, he said. We need a plan. Varea looked around the station. Machines hummed softly, lights blinked in the dim room. We can use their technology against them, she said suddenly. The patrols rely on sensors and signals to track me. Cole's eyes lit up. If we send false signals, we might trick them. Varea smiled faintly for the first time in days. I know how. Together they worked late into the night. Varea explained the alien sensor patterns and how to disrupt them. Cole adapted human technology to create interference signals. They set traps, hidden cameras, and motion alarms that would alert them of any intruders. Despite the danger, working side by side brought a strange comfort. They shared stories quietly, exchanged glances, and laughed softly at small jokes. The weight of loneliness lifted, replaced by the warmth of connection. The next morning, the patrol returned. They moved carefully, searching the forest edge and scanning with devices that beeped and flashed. Cole and Varea stayed hidden but watched closely. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. The patrol had triggered one of their traps. False signal? Cole said, pressing buttons to send confusing patterns through the sensors. The soldiers looked confused. Arguing among themselves, Varea whispered, They think the outcast escaped. In a different direction. Cole nodded. Good, let them chase ghosts. For hours, the patrol wandered farther into the woods. Away from the station. When the danger passed, Cole and Varea breathed deeply. You saved me, she said quietly. No, Cole corrected her. We saved each other. For the first time, Varea felt the truth in those words. She was not alone. She was not weak. She was more than what her people said. That night, they sat outside the station. Watching the stars, Varea looked at the sky and said, I never thought I would see the stars like this again. Cole smiled. You deserve to see them. She turned to him, eyes full of hope and something deeper she didn't name yet. Thank you for believing in me. Cole reached out, gently brushing a stray hair from her face. No one should be judged by what they cannot change, he said. And no one deserves to be alone. The forest whispered around them, but inside the small human station, something new had begun, trust, friendship, maybe even something more. The morning sun poured through the windows, casting warm light across the small room. Varea stretched slowly, feeling stronger with each passing day. The cold and fear that had once ruled her life were now fading, replaced by a quiet hope she had almost forgotten. Cole was already awake, working at the station's control panel. He glanced at her with a smile. Ready for some fresh air? The storm has passed. Varea nodded. The thought of stepping outside without fear was new and strange, but she wanted to try. Together, they walked outside the metal walls. The forest stretched wide around them, green and alive. Birds sang softly in the distance, and the scent of wet earth filled the air. Cole pointed to a small clearing nearby. This is one of my favorite spots, quiet, peaceful. Varea looked around, taking it all in. The world felt bigger than she had imagined. They sat on a fallen log, side by side, but not touching. The silence between them was comfortable, filled with unspoken thoughts. After a moment, Cole broke the quiet. I never thought I'd be helping an alien outcast. Varea chuckled softly. And I never thought I'd trust a human. Again, he looked at her, eyes warm. What made you lose trust? She hesitated, then spoke quietly. My people judged me only for what I could not give. They cared more about babies than about who I am inside. It hurt, deeply. Cole nodded, understanding. That's a hard thing to face. But you're not that person anymore. You're stronger. Varea looked down, then back up at him. You make me feel seen, not as broken, but as whole. Cole smiled. Because you are. Days passed, and Varea found herself looking forward to their moments together. She helped Cole repair the aging machines, her hands skilled and steady. Sometimes, when the sun was low and the sky painted with colors, they shared stories of their worlds. Cole told her about Earth, its oceans, cities, and quiet forests. Varea spoke of her home planet, the tall silver trees and the ancient songs her people sang before the cold laws took over. One afternoon, a sudden storm swept over the forest, dark clouds swallowing the sky. The wind howled and rain began to pour again. Inside the station, the power flickered and went out. Cole cursed under his breath. Looks like the backup generator is down. We'll have to fix it fast or the whole system shuts. Varea didn't hesitate. Show me. Together, they worked through the growing storm. Cole climbed to the roof to inspect the generator. While Varea monitored the controls, the wind pushed hard against the station walls. Thunder boomed. Suddenly the power flashed back on, then cut out again. Cole shouted over the noise. It's a bad connection. I'll need a moment. Varea stayed calm, watching the screen, guiding him through the controls. Check the left circuit. It should be loose. Cole nodded, fighting the wind and rain. He reached the circuit box and carefully tightened the wires. The power hummed steadily once more. Cole climbed down, dripping wet but smiling. We did it. Varea smiled back, feeling a rush of pride. That night, after the storm passed, they sat close by the window. The stars shone bright, the sky clear and vast. Varea looked at Cole and whispered, I never thought I could feel safe with someone again. He reached out gently, brushing a wet strand of hair from her face. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Not here, not with me. Her heart beat faster. She felt a new kind of warmth, something soft, gentle, and true. For the first time since her exile, Varea allowed herself to imagine a future where she belonged. And maybe, just maybe, it included him. A loud alarm cut through the calm air, jolting Cole and Varea from their quiet moment. The station's communication system flashed red, broadcasting an urgent message across the valley. Cole rushed to the control panel. His eyes grew wide as he read the incoming transmission. Varea stood behind him, tense. It's from your people, Cole said softly. A ship is approaching fast. They're sending a message for all outcasts to surrender. Varea's face went pale. They want me to give up, or they will remove me. Cole's jaw clenched. We can't let that happen. You need to stay hidden. We have to prepare. Varea shook her head, voice steady but firm. I cannot ask you to risk everything for me. I am a burden. Cole turned to her, eyes serious. You are not a burden. You are my friend. And I will fight to protect you. She looked away, torn between fear and hope. The communication repeated the ultimatum. Surrender, or be terminated. Time was running out. Cole spent the next hours reinforcing the station's defenses. He upgraded the door locks, strengthened the sensor jammers, and set traps around the perimeter. Varea helped by analyzing the alien ship's patterns, predicting where they might land and how they would move. Despite the urgency, a quiet determination grew between them. They worked as a team, their bond deepening. Late that night, Varea stood at the station's window. Watching the stars flicker, she turned to Cole. I'm sorry I caused you trouble. Cole smiled gently. No trouble at all. She swallowed hard. If they find me, it will not. Just be me they take. You will be in danger too. He stepped closer. Then we face it together. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Varea surprised him. She reached out and took his hand in hers. I want to trust you, she said. Quietly, more than I have trusted anyone. Cole squeezed her hand. I promise I will not let you down. The next day, the alien ship landed in the clearing outside the forest. Soldiers in dark armor moved quickly. Searching with scanners and weapons ready, Cole and Varea stayed hidden inside the station, hearts pounding. Suddenly, Varea stood up. I cannot stay hidden forever. They will not stop hunting me. Cole shook his head. You'll be safe here. No, she said, voice firm. If I go to them, maybe they will listen. Maybe I can make them see I'm still worthy. Cole reached for her arm. You don't have to do this alone. She pulled away gently. I have to try. Before he could stop her, Varea slipped out the door and disappeared into the forest. Cole rushed after her, calling her name. Varea, wait! She paused but did not turn. I must face my past. You must live. He felt a sharp pain in his chest. No, I choose to stand with you. We face this together. She looked back, eyes shining. Then come. Together they moved through the trees. Toward the alien patrol, Cole watched Varea's courage. Her steady steps despite fear. They reached the clearing where the soldiers waited. The leader stepped forward, eyes cold. You are the outcast, he said to Varea. She nodded. I am, he looked at Cole. And you, human. Why do you protect her? Cole stood tall. Because she is more than what you say. She is strong, brave, and alive. The soldiers murmured among themselves. The leader narrowed his eyes. You risk much. We offer a choice. Surrender peacefully or face the consequences. Varea looked at Cole, then back at the soldiers. I choose to live freely, not as your outcast. Cole stepped beside her. And I choose to fight for her freedom. The tension grew, thick as the forest air. But then, Cole raised his hand, signaling a device. The station's systems activated traps around the clearing, blinding lights, false signals, and loud alarms. The soldiers shielded their eyes. Confused, Varea smiled faintly. You underestimated us. Using the confusion, Cole and Varea slipped back toward the station. The patrol scrambled but soon realized they were outsmarted. They left the forest. Defeated for now, back inside the station, Cole and Varea looked at each other, breathing heavily. We did it, Varea whispered. Yes, Cole said. Together, she reached for his hand again. Thank you for standing with me, he smiled softly. I will always stand with you. As night settled, a new hope burned brightly between them. They had faced the impossible, and they were not alone. The forest was silent after the patrol left. Only the soft rustle of leaves and distant calls of birds broke the stillness. Cole and Varea stood behind the thick walls of the station, catching their breath. Their hearts still raced, but their spirits felt stronger. Cole wiped sweat from his brow. That was close. Varea nodded, eyes scanning the dark trees beyond the metal walls. They will return. They always do, Cole sighed. Then we need to be ready, no more running. Together they went over their plans once again. Using a mix of human technology and Varea's knowledge of her people's systems, they created false signals and sensor traps. These would confuse any patrols that came near, making them believe the outcast had died in a dangerous cliff collapse nearby. We'll make them think you're gone, Varea said quietly. They will stop searching, at least for a while, Cole smiled. Good, that buys us time. For days they work side by side. Varea helped with the station's repairs, her steady hands fixing broken parts, her sharp mind figuring out complicated problems. Cole admired her strength and determination. She was no longer a broken outcast, she was a partner, a friend. One evening, as the sun set behind the trees, painting the sky with orange and pink, Cole and Varea sat near the station's window. The world outside seemed peaceful, but their thoughts were far from calm. Varea broke the silence. Do you think we will ever be safe? Cole looked at her, his eyes soft. I don't know, but I do know we'll face whatever comes together. She smiled faintly, feeling a warmth in her chest she hadn't known before. Suddenly, the station's communicator beeped. Cole rushed to the control panel, his face lighting up. A rescue ship, he said. They're sending a shuttle to pick. US up? Varea's heart skipped a beat. Freedom was close, but the danger was not over. The alien patrols might still be watching, Cole warned. We need to leave quietly and quickly. They packed their few belongings. Varea held her pendant close, a small reminder of her past, and the journey ahead. As night fell, the shuttle arrived silently, its lights cutting through the darkness. Cole and Varea stepped outside, hearts pounding but hopeful. The shuttle's ramp lowered and they climbed aboard. Inside, the warm light and steady hum of the engines welcomed them. Varea looked at Cole, eyes shining. Thank you for everything, he smiled gently. You don't have to thank me, you saved yourself too. As the shuttle lifted off, leaving the forest and the dangerous world behind, Varea felt a new kind of freedom, one that came not just from escape, but from trust and belonging. Weeks later, on a neutral space colony, Varea stood among new faces. Humans and aliens from many worlds mingled peacefully. Here, no one judged her for what she could or could not do. Cole stood beside her. Steady and strong, you have a place here, he said. A place to start again. Varea smiled, feeling a quiet joy. She had found more than safety. She had found a home, and maybe even a future. The space colony was alive with soft sounds, voices speaking different languages, footsteps echoing in wide halls, and the hum of machines keeping the station alive. Varea walked slowly through the corridors, feeling the weight of her past slowly lift with every step. She wasn't alone. Cole was beside her, steady and calm, his presence a quiet comfort. For the first time, Varea felt truly free, not just from danger, but from the fear and judgment that had haunted her all her life. The colony's refugee center was simple but welcoming. People from many worlds shared stories and meals, helping each other heal from their own pasts. Varea listened as others spoke of their losses and hopes. She realized she was no longer the only one cast out, no longer the only one searching for a place to belong. Cole stayed near her, helping with paperwork and making sure she felt safe. You belong here, he told her one evening as they watched the stars from a high window. You deserve happiness, she smiled softly. I never thought I would find a home again. You did, Cole said, squeezing her hand gently. Days turned into weeks. Varea began to learn the customs of this new place and to speak the common language better. She made friends who did not care about her past, only about the person she was now. One afternoon, Cole surprised her with a small gift, a simple necklace with a tiny star-shaped pendant. It's for you, he said. A new symbol, not of what you lost, but of what you have now. Varea accepted it, tears shining in her eyes. Thank you. One evening, after a quiet meal, Varea and Cole sat together on a bench overlooking the city lights below. She leaned, her head on his shoulder, and whispered, I never imagined I could be this happy. He wrapped his arm around her gently. Neither did I, but you changed that. Her heart swelled with feelings she could not fully name but welcomed warmly. I want to stay here, with you. Wherever you go, Cole smiled. That's exactly where I want to be too. News came that the Halari Council had finally accepted that some of their old ways needed to change. The outcasts would no longer be hunted. It was a small victory, but it meant the world to Varea. She thought of her family, of the past she left behind. Pain was still there, but so was strength. One quiet night under the vast stars, Varea stood outside the colony looking at the sky. Cole came to her side. She took his hand, feeling the warmth and safety in his touch. "Thank you," she said softly, "for saving me, for believing in me, and for showing me kindness." Cole smiled. "Thank you for trusting me." Together. They looked up at the stars, bright, endless, and full of promise. Varea knew that no matter what happened next, she was no longer alone. She had found her place, her home, and a future filled with hope.